Hello, what up? Welcome to a new episode of the YepBoat podcast. Today, we're talking about the meta, about Battlegrounds again, how things are changing because, again, one of the biggest updates we've had, a lot to talk about, and actually a lot of interesting things happening right now within the game. We also talk a little bit about nerfs potentially coming up because things are a bit out of line. We've seen a lot of complaints, a lot of people raging on Twitter, myself included. I'm also going to talk at the end about me leaving. I'm taking a little bit of a break for 2 weeks, so I do have content planned. So if you want to know a little bit about that and know about what's going on, I'll touch that in the end. But first, let's talk about the game because there's still so much to talk about. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into like specific cards and how to play them because I think the last couple of videos did a good job of showcasing what I think of the meta, what is strong, how to play certain things. So if you want to like, have a better insight in the meta or in specific cards or playstyle, I would say take a look at that. But right now, we could compare what we thought was strong because I did predictions and I was off on some of them, and what actually happened because the last YepBoat episode was on the day of release, right before me just speculating. So, well, what is the meta like? I think I predicted meta being very greedy because of the damage cap and because of some of the stuff that was released on tier 5. I think a lot of people, as well, myself included, underrated some cards that were completely under the radar as well, like Frogger, like Whelp Smuggler. They were cards that seemed okay in my eyes, but they're actually like meta defining. And because of that, I'm super wrong because I thought the good stuff was still in higher tiers. The things are going to be greedy. Turns out that the meta is very mid-rangey and tempo-ish because of the good cards being on lower tiers. Doomsayer, I think everyone saw it coming being too strong, and it actually is. So all of the good cards are on tier 2, 3, and 4. There's of course still good cards on 5 and 6, but generally you find direction and compositions and scaling way earlier. So because of that, people are very quick to choose a comp, stabilize, get strong, and stick with that. Meaning lots of people force stuff, lots of people forcing beasts or mechs or demons, and then if you find it, you're super strong and you're like insane. If you don't find it, you die. And that feels like the meta. You either hit the stuff, go with it, and hit the dream comp and you're good, or you hit the stuff, try to go to dream comp, don't hit it, and other people do, and you just die unless you're flexible enough and know how to pivot. But a big downside this meta is that there's Menagerie is really bad. There's no Mitrix anymore, and Menagerie just doesn't scale or catch up with the other stuff. So you have no fallback plan. One thing I always say is if the meta has Menagerie, so if Menagerie is good in the meta, then it's a healthy meta. Why? Because if you don't hit anything, if you just have a bunch of random tribes, everyone can do Menagerie, right? You just pick some random tribes that are good. You find a light thing or some jugs or whatever scaling, right? Like major domos. Find something to scale up and just play a board of random stuff and play for stats and you're going to be fine. And then the meta is healthy because it doesn't matter if you miss, you always have a fallback plan. You can always set up for Menagerie. It's super easy to buy random tribes. It's super easy to find buffs and learn how to tech well against your opponents. So Menagerie metas I find personally fun because of the flexibility and because it allows people to stabilize when they miss on their initial game plan. The Menagerie is not good. So what happens if you miss is that you are stuck. If you try to pivot into Menagerie, you die to people who have the nuts and who outscale. So that's one thing I don't like about the meta, but I'm actually having a lot of fun because, again, one of the biggest updates ever, a lot of playful things, a lot of things to try out, and yeah, it's amazing. So I feel personally like the meta is more mid-rangey instead of greedy because you don't need to greed when stuff is on tier 2 and tier 3. So yeah. Also, shiny curve or like whatever tier 1 curve you prefer to do is also worse now because you don't really need to find early triples, sacrifice a lot of HP, and find 5 drops. Why? You can roll on tier 2 and tier 3 and just be as strong and find just as much direction. So things are kind of weird right now. It's really weird. For sure, we'll see nerfs, and I'm going to do some predictions of what I think is going to change. But right now, what I think the strongest tribes are, and the tribes that I've had most success with climbing to 9,200, and what I mainly did is like play mechs. At first, the first day, I think I only played mechs. I forced it because I knew mechs are strong. So I played Greasebots, which is the 4-drop. Also, real quick, I'll explain all the cards that I talk about. Sorry if I didn't explain previously. I'll try to work on it, but I know a lot of people said that they want like pictures whenever I talk about stuff. I do that in all my videos except the podcast episodes because, again, you can listen to these on Spotify. So it's kind of unfair if I just show pictures and then people on Spotify who listen or who watch this or listen to this in the background don't have the visual. So I'm not doing any editing in these good videos. I'll try to remember to explain whatever I'm talking about. So sorry if I forget. But yeah, so Greasebot is the 4-drop that gives Divine Shield units +2/+1 once they lose a Divine Shield. That's amazing. Like if I have a Cyclone, a Bronze Warden, or a Deflectabot, I gem this guy, even with Mackerel. Like it's so much insane skilling. It's kind of like a targeted Light Fang with more potential, and it's a mech. It's nutty. It's tier 4. So the first day, I basically just forced this card. I just played this whenever I had any Divine Shields. I tried to go max, and I had a great win rate. Max, I think, like I said in my previous video, is one of the best tribes to go if you don't want to lose MMR. It's so safe if you find some mechs and just scale up and do Divine Shield scam and stuff like that. It's great. Also taunt comp, like they nerfed arm by removing 1 HP. Arm is a 3-drop that gets +2 attack whenever a taunt is attacked into. They removed 1 HP, which makes it less viable as a tempo option on tier 3, but Arm just still does exactly the same. It gets +2, like it's still great scaling if you have some modules. So I would say don't sleep on Arm. It beats demons, for example. Like big demons still lose to an Arm taunt comp because there's so much stuff that just value trades with high attack. Then the next tribe is obviously Beasts. Even without Frogger, it felt strong. I had a lot of Beast wins when Frogger was out. Frogger, I'll explain it real quick in case you don't know. It's a 2-drop with Death Rattle that gives +2/+2 to another beast and a Death Rattle. So Death Rattle can keep on bouncing from beast to beast to beast. So without Frogger, I could just find Mama Bears, Crocolisk's. Crocolisk is a new tier 5 that has Avenge 2 and Death Rattle. Give a random beast +6/+6, I think. It was good. It was pretty good. So the beast should be in a worse spot because they don't have faces anymore, and faces is what's going to give you triples and pairs, and beasts need that. Beasts need the Golden Baron, the Golden Macaw, the Goldrins. Like beasts needed more than any other tribe to hit triples, but it seems like it's not that affected, like being faces being removed. So that is interesting, but it might just be because they got better early tempo. Like they don't have Kindly Grandmother anymore. Instead they have the new 2-drop, the 2/3 red that gives, no, the 3/2 red that summons a 2/3 turtle with taunts on Death Rattle. No, that was way harder than I expected it to be. They just have like new resources and new tempo, new scaling, new spikes that allows them to get a lot stronger, and therefore you don't necessarily need to hit the triples as quick to just have a spike. And of course Frogger. let's not forget about that card. Now it's back in the game and it's busted. It is, people say it's broken. It's not broken. It works as intended, but it feels like they didn't anticipate the amount of growth that it could generate. It's kind of insane how much Frogger can bounce and like exponentially scale up your beasts on the board. So that's something I feel like is overlooked. But hey, we got our screenshots now with like 100,000 attack macaws, so Reddit is gonna be happy. But yeah, Frogger comp, it's amazing. It's great. So Beast is definitely up there as well amongst the best tribes. Dragons, again, dragons were bugged, so they were the best tribe. Now the bugs are mostly removed, so Razorgore doesn't stack anymore. We have Smuggler. Smuggler is a 2-drop that gets +2 HP whenever a dragon gets plus attack. So like the health would stack way too much. There were some other bugs like Wicked Tune. All of that is fixed, but I think dragons are still strong. People say dragons is bad now with Smuggler being fixed. No, I really don't agree with that. I think dragons are still great, but I think people play it wrong. People just want to do the Hyrule stuff again. But dragons have amazing tempo and like scaling on tier 3 and 4, like Terragosa, which is a 3-drop that keeps all enchantments during combat phase, and a 4-drop. Just some noise outside. I hope you guys can hear it. But the 4-drop that like gives Razorgore stats to adjacent units at the start of combat. That's amazing scaling. The 4-drop that deals damage whenever a dragon attacks. So you just remove Divine Shields automatically. They have so many tools now. I feel like they're in a really good spot. You just need to not try and just high roll the Calignatina. Sure, that is good, but you can set it up, play tempo dragons, and then later on slowly transition into that end game. I'm still going to put dragons amongst the best tribes. I still have a lot of wins with it, and I still think it's really strong if you just hit the Smuggler or the good early dragons. And then demons. There's like a rooster outside. Demons, well, we got Doomsayer, the 3-drop that's absolutely broken. Now, I know I've been like kind of trash talking demons a lot, and I still think it's justified. Demons is a good tribe. It does win sometimes. It does get top 4s, and it's a high win rate, but it doesn't still, I don't think it takes too many first places. It loses super hard to poison. It loses to max or taunts if they, well, position properly and if it's a good player. Demons like are so awkward to play. I'm still gonna put it up there. Demons are good, you know, if you hit the early Urzul, I think is a 5-drop. It's a taunt that whenever you play a demon, it eats something from the shop, gains the stats, and the 6-drop that just makes all your demons at the end of the turn eat stuff from the shop. They're good. I'm not gonna complain, but I don't think it's good enough. I think it's great, but not good enough. And the only thing again is a 3-drop. I've been talking about the 3-drop Doomsayer, which is the 2/6, right, in stats, or 2/5. That whenever 3 things die, so Avenge 3 gives you a random demon in hand, and this guy can generate like 2 or 3 demons a turn. It's again a better genie or a better Pagel or whatever on tier 3. It is insane. It gives you triples, it gives you money, it gives you a comp, like all demons on tier 3. So this card is nuts. This needs to be nerfed or removed or whatever. So that's definitely going to happen, because this is the only reason Demons is good in my eyes. Without this card, I think Demons is going to be a lot worse. Anyway, those are like the main tribes that I play most of the time that I think are super strong. The other tribes need a bit more high roll to work. Like Murlocs just need a lot more high rolls in order for it to be viable. What other tribes are there? There's Murlocs, Mechs, Demons, Dragons, Beasts. But anyway, for Pirates needs insane high roll again. You need like infinite money, so a lot of Hoggers. But again, Faceless being removed makes it harder. Without Faceless, finding multiple Hoggers and triples just gets a lot harder. So Peggy is a good card, which is a new 4-drop that whenever you have a card in your hand, you give +1/+1 or +2/+2 to Pirates on your board. It's a great card. I played with it. It was fun. Pirates actually seem like they got stronger. Just they need a bit more, you know, compared to the other tribes. Then we also have Elementals. Nomi comps are good, mainly because of the new 4-drop that whenever you play an Elemental, your refresh goes 0. Like on Millhouse and on other heroes, we get a lot of free money because we get a lot of free rolls cycling Elementals. So that was a cool interaction that I didn't spot at first. And then of course we got the Avenge Elementals that basically are pseudo Nomi on tier 4. But it comes with issues. I thought it was a better Nomi. I thought it was insane. But the problem is that you have to play like shitty Avenge minions, like units that you want to die. Because that's the only way it triggers. So eventually, after a couple turns, if you want to buy big elementals, because well, otherwise you're going to just take damage and die. You got to upgrade your board, buy your big elementals, and then they don't die anymore, and your Avenge doesn't trigger anymore. So it's actually not as good as it seems. It's good to find for a couple turns, maybe if you have taunts, but quickly you're going to realize that it's a bit awkward to try and consistently get stats of it. Because you have to cycle your board anyway, right? You have to sell your weak elementals for stronger elementals in the shop. So why not just have a Nomi, which is just, yeah. Anyway, and then there's elementals, pirates. What am I missing? Quillbores? Yeah, Quillbores, I don't know. It didn't change much. The new gem guy on tier 3 that gives you a gem whenever the Divine Shield is hit is great. I think it is a good card. It has, I've seen it with like Shaker comps. I've seen it with even dragons, because dragons, Whelp Smuggler, and then gems. Like it actually has a cool interaction. You can buff up the health of your dragons a lot with your gems. Other than that, Kibler just doesn't seem great because they didn't get a single buff or a single change, and every other tribe basically got buffed. So they kind of fell behind, which I didn't expect. Again, when I reviewed this, I thought Kibler were still going to be great because they weren't changed. But yeah, sadly, it's just not enough. The stats that all the tribes have is just insane. And that's it for the tribes. So what I feel like the meta is right now, how much I win with some of these tribes, what I think of them. Now, let's move on to predictions, what I think is going to be nerfed. Now, of course, I'm going to bring up Doomsayer, the 3-drop for demons, because that card is just out of whack. I think it's the strongest card to date released. So that card for sure going to be nerfed. If it's not, then I'm going to really question what their idea is of balancing. So Doomsayer is going to be nerfed 100%, I think. Frogger, I actually don't know if it's going to be nerfed, because I see a lot of people go for it, myself included, but it is not as oppressive as it seems. Now, it needs to be nerfed 100%, but not removed. Like on tier 2, it does too much, right? It's a 5/5 on tier 2 if you have at least one beast. It's a 7/7 or 9/9 if you have multiple beasts and we actually get good hits. Like, it's crazy. And the potential of Frogger is also insane with like Death Rattle Beast, and of course with Baron, because with Baron it starts scaling exponentially. Gonna have a video about that soon. So if you want to know all the math about Frogger, how it works, how the composition works, look out for that. But basically, it enables too much. It's too strong. It shouldn't be on tier 2. So I think it's gonna be nerfed to a higher tier. Maybe the throttle to +1/+1, but I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll just put it tier 3 or tier 4 or something. Maybe nerf the base stats. But I think they like the design. Everyone likes the design. A lot of people are loving Frogger, myself included. I think it's a really cool design, and it enables a new kind of beast build that we haven't seen before, and a new type of scaling that we haven't seen before, with like bouncing and exponentially growing. It's really cool. So I think they want to keep that. So they might just bump up the mana cost, or the gold cost, I should say. we don't know. That's just speculation, but that's it for Frogger. It's for sure probably gonna see change. Although I would not be surprised, like I start off this statement, I would not be surprised if they don't change it, because I see a lot of people take it and try it, making it work, but it's still dying to other comps. Because again, it does need the Baron, maybe the Macaw, it does need good beasts and Crocolisk to survive and to make the comp work. So it takes a lot of pieces to actually have it scale up compared to other compositions or other high rollers. So and I don't think the win rate on Frogger is going to be that high, because I think a lot of people just pick it and then pivot out of it or just don't succeed. But when it succeeds, it's amazing. It's a lot of fun. It is almost unbeatable if it's really great. So I think they might look at the stats and think Frogger is fine, but it should probably be nerfed. Then Smuggler, the tier 2 card for dragons. Again, too many strong cards on tier 2 right now and tier 3 for the game. So Smuggler should probably still see maybe change, like maybe go to tier 3 or give +1 HP, because as it is insane. Like if you have Kaligos, you want Smuggler on your board because of the amount of stats it puts out. It is crazy. It is single-handedly allowing dragons to do insane amount of damage and insane amount of health on their units. It just, for a tier 2 card, it does too much. That's all I'm gonna say. Tier 2 cards should be like okay things that, like Pack Leader, for example, is a great example. Yes. It just gives attack to your beast. It's strong for like a mid-game beast build, but you never have Pack Leader in your late-game boards because it's just really bad. It's just a worse Mama Bear. Pack Leader combos aren't a thing. Like it's more tempo-ish. It enables some mid-game strategy. That's it. I feel like Smuggler should be kind of the same, where it enables some early game tempo, like a little bit of scaling on your early dragons, but late game it should fall off and you should want to get rid of it, instead of it being still your main piece of scaling. Kaligos gives +1/+1 to everything. Smuggler is going to give +2 HP to everything if you have Kaligos. So I mean, it's kind of like a second Kalig in a way then. Instead of the +1 attack, you move it to +1 HP. Yeah, Smuggler is probably going to see change. Although, again, I would not be surprised if they don't change it, because they did fix some of the interactions. I don't know what the win rate looks like, and people might think, like, because people are saying Dragons is still bad because of the changes. People say Dragons are now not great, which I don't agree with. Like, maybe they might agree. Second, this is a fourth thing. Greasebot and Mackerel, the mech stuff, I think is just... Once I saw this, I think when I first saw Mackerel and Greasebot. Mackerel, by the way, is the tier 5 unit that regains a shield when something loses a shield. Too strong. I saw this, I lost my mind, because Mackerel was broken. And guess what? Mackerel, it's kind of the same as a word play, is also kind of broken. I mean, broken is maybe too much of a heavy word to use here, because Mackerels don't win every lobby because of the power level of other tribes. But dude, a good Mackerel comp can be insane. If you have a ton of Mackerel and then just a bunch of shields and it scales up with Arm and Greasebot, dude, I've seen entire boards just trade into a Mackerel. I've played a super shitty comp, I had nothing, but I had 2 taunted Mackerels, and I got super lucky hits. They bounced off each other and actually won fights that way. Mackerels are just good. And Greasebot is also insane scaling. I hope they don't get rid of Greasebot or completely kill the card, but just nerf it a little bit. Like, just nerf the base stats of it, so it's a bit riskier to put it on the board, because it's a 3/6. It still trades pretty okay. And it's a max, so you can module it, and it's gonna be okay. So maybe +1/+1 as well, instead of +2/+1, because the attack is really good on Divine Shield units. We'll see, or +2/+0. I think something should change. Same with Mackerel. Mackerel, dude, I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe move it to tier 6, or is that too much? They already have the Buster. Omega Buster is actually surprisingly good as well. They have that on tier 6. I really underestimated Omega Buster. I think other people did as well. Until a couple days ago when I lost to XQN. who is a former rank 1 EU NNA, who just like destroyed me with an Omega Buster combo comp. They had like Omega Buster, Macaw, Baron, and dude, my microphone is about to fall. The amount of stats I can put out is crazy. It's like a gold ring comp, but everything can have Divine Shield because it's max, and you can have Mackerels and resets. Like, it is nasty. So I think Omega Buster is kind of an interesting card that I'm definitely need to mess around with more, for sure. But yeah. Then last but not least, I also want to touch bugs, because they took it out of beta and they fixed some bugs, like the outline bug, the blue outline around cards that appear sometimes. So I'm happy that they finally listened and got rid of these things. But we can't ignore all the stuff that crept back in. So everyone going to tier 1 constantly, that still isn't fixed, even though they did like 2 hot fixes already. People jump to tier 1. There's the Frogger breaking the game twice, all the dragon interactions, the lag. There's also, if you play for a continuous look for a long amount of time, you still have lag. You have to restart the game. So after I do like a 3-4 hour stream, I have to restart my game once or twice. It's stupid. That's something that I don't understand how that's a thing still. So there's a lot of things that I wish are still going to be solved. Although the game is out of beta, I don't know what the beta tag meant. Again, in my previous video, 10 hot takes, the game still feels in beta. I feel like nothing changed. The beta tag did nothing except for move the game onto the front page. So I hope it's going to mean more. Maybe that means that we do get tournaments in the near future. And maybe that does mean that there are going to be more patches and bug fixes. We're going to see. But I'm still excited for the future. It seems like they do have plans for it still. Although I wish some of these things were quicker to be addressed. Is there anything else I need to mention? I don't think so. This is basically everything. So this YepBoat episode is not going to be too long. Since I've made so many videos already about the meta and about cards, I'll just want to give an update on how things have been for a little bit. Because also, channel update, I'm leaving for 2 weeks. I've been like doing YouTube almost for an entire year now. I think in about a month, it's been 1 year of me just grinding on YouTube and Twitch, and I haven't actually taken like time off. Maybe a couple days off I've done before, but never traveled. Also COVID. Because of COVID, I haven't been able to travel for 2 years. I think most people have been stuck inside. So this is the very first time again, finally, after a long while, that I get to travel. Oh god, dude, I'm so happy. It's kind of a bad time to travel because of all the stuff going on. Like, my channel is doing great. I want to make content. I love making videos, and things are going amazing. There's a big patch, but you know, I want to go. So I'm going to Iceland for 2 weeks. Now, don't worry, I do have some videos scheduled. I made a video about Frogger, which is going to come out. I'm not going to spoil it. It's going to come out soon. And I also have a video about dragons, and maybe some other videos that if I have time, because I'm leaving tomorrow, we'll see. So there will be content still. There's just not going to be any streams. And if there's going to be like nerfs or patches, then I guess those videos will be a little bit off, but they should still be informational enough. So just so you guys know, if I don't reply to comments, or if I'm not active in Discord, or if I'm not making content, that is why. But I will be back, don't worry. I might still check up on Twitter from time to time. We see. And also, I want to thank you guys for the amazing community. Like, it's been amazing. We're almost at 9,000 subs as of making this podcast episode, which is crazy. We might push to 10K in like a month. That is absolutely mental. I'm gonna do something special for that, hopefully. But yeah, we just have a great community as well. In my 10 hot takes video, there were not that many people being rude in the comments. A lot of people were very nice and respectful, and I like that. And the few people that were rude, they actually had like people reply to them and say, dude, that's rude, what the hell is that? So I really appreciate all of you just, you know, joining the conversation and helping out and being part of this. I'm really proud of what we've built, and I'm happy to be sitting here in front of you talking about this game, and I'll definitely keep doing that. So thank you for that. That's it. I'm gonna cut it short because I still got a lot to do, but I hope you enjoyed the short update though. I hope you guys enjoyed the content I've been making and enjoyed the patch. Now let me know what you thought of, well, the nerfs. What do you think is gonna be nerfed? Do you agree with these takes, or do you think I'm completely wrong again as usual? Thank you for listening, or thank you for watching, and take care. Good luck on the Battlegrounds.